Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, Capital Markets Analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast. Today we're going to be taking a look at some predictions in the industry according to a cannabis recruiting platform on benzinga.com. All right, first out of 8 predictions is that there will be a continuation of state-level legalization, or at least regulation until it's legal. So New Hampshire approved a bill that would legalize adult use in the state. New Mexico is in the process of revising a bill, also looking at Arizona, Missouri, and then on the medical side, looking at Alabama, Nebraska, South Carolina, and then Kentucky just legalized. So they went through that process of having the House approve it, and then that will go to the Senate next. All of these states are looking towards revenue opportunities from all of the sales taxes. So obviously some broke states like Illinois went to the rec market to try and take in $40 million a month, or at least in the first week they took in $40 million. So other states, you're looking at Mississippi, New Jersey, South Dakota, already looking at medical legalization. So federal legalization is at a standstill. So we saw the MORE Act and the Safe Banking Act. There is a senator out of Iowa, Republican Crapo, who isn't interested in it at all, even though his state desperately needs it. And so eventually it's going to legalize. I know we're hearing a lot of stuff about the administration saying that they don't want to legalize it. I just think that's to appease Trump's administration for this re-election. They've already said in the past that they will allow each state to operate the way that they want to, kind of hands-off approach. But then we also see that Trump just pardoned a gal in Texas who was in prison for cannabis. So you kind of have to look at it from a political perspective. I don't think that federalization is going to go anywhere. I definitely see it at a standstill. It's going to take an economic collapse for the feds to then have a reason to go to their conservative constituents and say, this is why we had to pass it. It's because we're broke. And so it's not going to happen for any other reason. They're going to need an economic collapse or catastrophe or some kind of crisis in order to pass this revenue generation. It's not for the medicinal aspect. It's not because they should do it. It's just because they're already seeing the money. The writing's on the wall. Just have to wait for it. I think you can expect a tech takeover. There's going to be a lot of retailers accepting debit and credit cards once it's federally legal, and they're able to do that. And with that comes a lot of data. With that comes reports. So Headset has reports. They're working with Nielsen. I would also take a look at accurate dosing. And so there will be apps coupled with hardware so that when you take a dab or you hit your bong, you can set the temperature or set the duration of the flame. And let's say you have a good experience with me and you want to emulate that experience. You can share the strain and types and experiences on your POS, on your phone, on whatever hardware. So you're going to be looking at information and potency and dosage. There will be VR, virtual reality, augmented reality, so that when you hover over a competitor or a particular product, somebody will come up and start talking to you, and that will be how you get your education. It's incredibly difficult to educate and then sell. And so I think with tech, that's definitely going to help. A lot of people aren't engaging in cannabis because they don't know what to expect. And so, with alcohol or any other products, people have learned to know what to expect. So it's going to take some tech and some experience in order for that to become as normal as, other vices. So the third prediction is that CBD is going to cool off as other cannabinoids come into focus. I would definitely agree with that because of the margins. A lot of people spent their entire life savings on CBD, and water-soluble CBD isolate for kilos were going at around $18,000 a year and a half ago, and now that price has just plummeted. So just like Philly and New York expect $7,000 or $9,000 pounds of flower cannabis. The reality is that price will drop below $200 to $300 in a regulated market. And so cannabinoids are no different. CBD kilos were going for $8,000 a year or 2 years ago, and now you can find those for as low as $2,000. So people will be shifting to other cannabinoids like CBG, CBN, maybe eventually CBL. THCV is another one. So I would expect, people looking for higher margins to be switching as there's so much focus on CBD. There should be more talks of terpenes. So, the percentage is kind of an analogy to a gas pedal on a car where the steering wheel is the direction. Terpenes kind of put you in the direction that you're looking for. Do you want something euphoric, energetic, uplifting, or do you want something that's kind of going to give you that couch lock effect? Whatever you want, terpenes should be the route to take you there. So I would expect a lot more information and available terpenes in all products. The sixth prediction is investment is going to tighten up, and that's already happened. This article says that cannabis is incredibly lucrative and exciting landscape, and investors are proceeding more cautiously than ever before with new opportunities as the industry is at its largest, most profitable yet. It's not a sign that the industry as a whole, there's investors that might spend time evaluating companies and requesting records of proven profits before pulling the trigger. We've definitely said that this is the year of profit. If you can't generate a going concern, meaning staying in business with your own sales, with your own revenue, with your own profit model, then no investor is going to give you extra capital, except an existing one who doesn't want to see you go bank or go out of business. They're going to throw good money after bad. I've already seen that. Investment is definitely tightening up. Retail investors are holding back. The smart money is on the sidelines waiting for value. They know that these companies are going to be going out of business and they're going to buy property, plant, and equipment for pennies on the dollar. So that's just going to happen. Convenience is king. Obviously, price and convenience are just normal decisions for consumers, and cannabis is no different. Cannabis consumption lounges should become available in states. With the trend continuing in Washington and Illinois, Washington has a felony on maintaining and operating a marijuana lounge. So until we get rid of that felony, that's not going to happen anyway. There is no trend for consumption lounges at all. So there's a lot of states. We've covered 8 different states. In fact, I've got the bills all right here. I'm on the chair of a committee to overturn that felony and implement a bill to allow for consumption. It's not going to happen anytime soon, but we are working on it. We've researched bills in in Alaska, Colorado, Oregon, California, including West Hollywood and San Francisco, Illinois, Maryland. So there's a lot of bills out there. Vegas has a 2-year moratorium on theirs because they try to implement alcohol, which is pretty crazy. So Alaska is also another state that had some pretty good verbiage in there, but it is going to take a lot of time. So I would expect that cannabis lounges kind of being the heart and soul of the cannabis community where people can go and consume, from vendor days to just a social club, is definitely going to be the missing link, and I think is going to spur a lot more growth. Just look at the coffee culture, look at the wine culture. If people had to consume at home, those commodities wouldn't take off the way that they have without having a place to consume those outside of the home. So I definitely would expect it to be normalized, professionalized, just regular old cannabis shop rather than the stigma that it currently has. So convenience and price are king, and hopefully that means that consumption lounges will be at the heart of that. I'm not sure where the 8th prediction is. There's only 7 on this article, so I'll give you my own 8th prediction, which is that we're going to see a 4th quarter pop. A lot of these companies are going to go out of business here. Probably 3rd quarter, you're going to see a lot kind of just give up. And so the remaining companies that are still around will see a huge pop. So if the news reports on it, it's going to sound like there's an increase in sales, but really what's happening is a decrease in the number of people supplying at rec shops, producers, or processors. All of those I would expect within the next 6 months to start closing either on their own or being forced to, and the ones that remain will create a little sales pop. we're going to have to see on some other data reports if that holds true. Just going to have to come back to the Talking Hedge and find out. So with that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out.